I stood in the bathroom of my college dorm, scissors poised at my temple, watching my sister through the FaceTime call on my phone. Maya's face drained of color as I made the first cut. 20 inches of carefully maintained waves fell to the floor in a cascading sheet of dark silk. "What are you doing?" Her voice came out strangled, almost panicked. I smiled at the camera, continuing to cut. "Just trying something new." She hung up without another word. I knew exactly what was going through her mind. The same thought that had been circling through mine for the past 3 weeks since I'd woken up in my 18-year-old body with 10 years of memories that hadn't happened yet. Or rather, memories that had happened but wouldn't happen again. Not this time. In my previous life, I'd kept my hair long until I was 28. Maya had copied every single style, every treatment, every care routine I'd ever used. She'd built her entire online presence, her modeling career, her identity around having hair exactly like mine. Except she'd always claimed she was the original, that I was the one copying her. And everyone, our parents, our extended family, her hundreds of thousands of followers, had believed her. The pixie cut I was giving myself was choppy and uneven, but I didn't care. I wasn't trying to look good. I was trying to watch my sister's world crumble, one snip at a time. I need to go back further to make you understand. To make you understand why the look on Maya's face when I cut my hair was worth dying for, because I did die. And in dying, I learned the truth about everything. Maya will always be 3 years older than me. Growing up, people constantly compared us. We both inherited our mother's Thai heritage and our features and our father's Portuguese genes and our hair texture. Thick, dark waves that caught light like silk and fell in natural spirals when left to air dry. But where my waves were effortless, Maya had to work for hers. I didn't know that then. She'd wake up at 5 a.m. to treat and style her hair while I slept in. She'd spend hundreds on products while I used whatever was in the shower. The result was the same, or so it seemed. Our parents divorced when I was 6 and Maya was 9. Dad moved to California for work. Mom kept us in our small Massachusetts town, and she kept us close in other ways too. She made us dress alike, style our hair the same, pose for photos and matching outfits. My beautiful twins, she'd call us, even though we were 3 years apart and looked nothing alike beyond our hair. Maya hated it at first. I remember her screaming at 13 that she wasn't a doll, that she wanted to cut her hair short and dye it blonde. Mom cried for 3 days straight. She told Maya she was selfish, that she was breaking apart our family aesthetic, that she was betraying the memory of her own grandmother who'd had beautiful long hair too. Eventually, Maya backed down. She always backed down where Mom was concerned. I was too young to understand the dynamic. I just knew that Mom got upset when we didn't look coordinated, and I didn't like when Mom was upset. So I went along with it. Matching dresses, matching hairstyles, matching everything. When I turned 13 and Maya turned 16, something shifted. Maya had discovered Instagram the year before, and she'd started posting photos of herself. Just herself, not us together. Photos of her hair, her outfits, her makeup. She called her account @MayasWaves, and her follower count climbed steadily. A few hundred, then a few thousand. That's when Mom's tune changed. Suddenly, the matching outfits were helping Maya's brand. Suddenly, I needed to be in photos with her because sister's content performs well. Suddenly, everything I did was in service of Maya's growing online presence. "Wear your hair down today, Lily," Mom would say on the days Maya was filming. "Maya needs you for a comparison video." "Let Maya borrow your new dress. Her followers want to see it." "Don't cut your bangs. Maya's growing hers out and you two need to match." I was 15 when I first suggested cutting my hair short. Just a trim, shoulder length, something different. Maya went pale. Mom looked at me like I'd suggested burning down the house. "Why would you want to do that?" Mom asked, her voice tight. I want to try something new." "Your hair is beautiful." Mom's hand smoothed down my back. "It's what makes you special. What makes both of you special." "But it's my hair." Lily. Mom's voice took on that particular tone that meant the discussion was over. Maya has worked very hard to build something. You're not going to ruin it because you're going through some phase. I didn't cut my hair. I didn't do anything to my hair except exactly what Maya did to hers. When she got caramel highlights, Mom booked us appointments together. When she started using a specific hair oil brand, bottles appeared in my bathroom too. When she began a curly girl method routine, Mom printed out the instructions and made us both follow them. By the time I was 18 and Maya was 21, her follower count had hit 500,000. She'd been featured in hair care campaigns, gotten sponsorships from major brands, and landed a modeling contract with a boutique agency that specialized in natural beauty. Her entire brand was built on her effortlessly gorgeous waves and her authentic approach to hair care. Except none of it was effortless, and none of it was authentic. I knew because I lived with her. I watched her spend 2 hours every morning on her hair. I heard her crying in the bathroom when a style didn't work. I saw the receipts for the salon treatments she'd get every month, then claim her hair was naturally healthy. And I watched her scroll through photos of me, studying my hair like a scientist examining a specimen. The irony was that my hair actually was effortless. I'd wake up, run my fingers through it, maybe add some leave-in conditioner and go. It looked the same as hers. Better sometimes because it wasn't damaged from all the heat and chemicals. But in every photo, every video, every interview, Maya was the star. She was the hair girl. She was the one everyone admired. And I was just her little sister, the supporting character in her story. I tried to have my own life. I went to college 3 hours away, planning to major in English and maybe pursue writing. But Mom called every day. Did you post a photo with your hair down? Maya's engagement is dropping and having you in her content helps. Maya is coming to visit this weekend for a shoot. Make sure your hair looks good. My own social media stayed minimal, a few hundred followers, mostly people from high school. I didn't want to compete with Maya. I didn't want any part of that world. But that didn't matter. I was still required to show up, to pose, to be the supporting evidence that Maya's hair was genetic, not manufactured. Then, during my junior year of college, I met James. He was a grad student in the journalism department, 26 to my 21, with kind eyes and an easy laugh. We met at a coffee shop where I was working on a paper. He sat down at my table, the cafe was crowded, and we started talking. About books, about writing, about everything. We dated for 3 months before I introduced him to my family. That was my first mistake. Maya took one look at him, and I saw something flicker in her eyes. Something hungry. Within a week, she was commenting on all his social media posts. Within 2 weeks, she'd messaged him asking for help with a writing project. Within a month, I walked in on them kissing in my childhood bedroom when I came home for Thanksgiving. It just happened, Maya said, not looking remotely sorry. We connected. James at least had the decency to look ashamed. I'm sorry, Lily. I didn't mean for this to happen, but I think I'm in love with her. Mom said I was overreacting when I locked myself in my room and cried for 3 days. You two only dated a few months. Maya and James are serious. You should be happy for your sister. I went back to college and threw myself into my studies. I graduated with honors. I moved to Boston and got a job at a small publishing house. I dated other people. No one serious. I saw Maya and James's relationship play out on Instagram. The engagement at a beach in Bali, the wedding at a vineyard in Napa, the house they bought in Connecticut. Maya's followers ate it up. Her engagement soared. She landed a deal with a major hair care brand as their ambassador. She wrote a book, with a ghostwriter, of course, about beauty and confidence and sisterhood. There was a chapter about me in it, about how I'd always supported her, how we'd grown up sharing everything, how our bond over our hair had made us inseparable. It was all lies. But the world believed her. I was 25 when Maya got pregnant, 26 when she had a daughter, 27 when she launched her own hair care line. Through it all, Mom called me monthly to make sure I was maintaining my hair properly so I could still appear in Maya's content when needed. You're part of the brand now, Lily, Mom would say. This is bigger than just you. I was 28 when I finally decided to cut my hair. I'd met someone who saw me, not just as Maya's sister. Daniel was an architect, thoughtful and quiet, nothing like James. We'd been dating for 6 months and he'd asked me to move in with him. It felt like the start of a real life, my own life, finally separate from Maya's shadow. I wanted to do something to mark the occasion, something that was just for me. I made an appointment at a salon in Boston. I didn't tell anyone. I was going to cut my hair to my shoulders, add some layers, maybe some highlights that weren't the same as Maya's current color. Nothing dramatic, just different. Mine. The appointment was on a Thursday afternoon. I never made it. Maya called me that morning, sobbing. James had left her. He'd been having an affair with someone he'd met at the gym. He wanted a divorce. She needed me. I canceled my hair appointment and drove to Connecticut. I spent 3 days at Maya's house listening to her cry, helping with her daughter, mediating phone calls with lawyers. On the third day, I mentioned that I'd been planning to cut my hair before all this happened. Maya's tears stopped instantly. Cut your hair? Why would you do that? Just for a change. It doesn't matter now. You can't cut your hair. Her voice was sharp, panicked. My whole brand is about our hair, about us having the same hair. If you cut yours, it ruins everything. I stared at her, Maya, you're going through a divorce. Your hair brand is the last thing. My hair brand is the only thing keeping me afloat right now. She was standing now, her face flushed. I have a mortgage, a daughter, contracts that depend on my image. And my image is built on us, on our hair, on the story that it's natural and genetic and special. If you cut your hair, you're telling the world that mine is fake. But Maya, it is fake. You've been treating and styling it to match mine for years. The slap came so fast I didn't see it coming. My cheeks stung, my eyes watered. How dare you, Maya whispered. I made this hair what it is. I built this career. You've just been riding on my success, showing up for photos and getting money from my sponsors. Everything you have is because of me. That wasn't true. I had my own job, my own apartment, my own life. But looking at her face, twisted with rage and desperation, I realized she actually believed what she was saying. Mom called an hour later. Maya had already told her I was planning to sabotage her career. You need to think about your sister right now, Mom said. She's going through the hardest time of her life. This is not the time to be selfish. I drove back to Boston in silence. I didn't reschedule my hair appointment. 2 months later, Daniel proposed. I said yes. We started planning a small wedding for the spring. Maya announced she was launching a sister hair care duo line, products specifically for sisters with similar hair types to celebrate their bonds. She needed me to be part of the campaign. There would be photo shoots, video content, social media posts, and she needed me to keep my hair exactly as it was. I said no. For the first time in my life, I said no to Maya's demands. She showed up at my apartment at midnight, screaming in the hallway. My neighbors called the police. Maya cried and played the victim, said I was her sister and she was just worried about me, that I'd been acting strange. The officers let her go with a warning. The next day, my employer received an anonymous email claiming I'd been plagiarizing content for the manuscripts I was editing. It wasn't true, but the investigation took weeks and nearly got me fired. Daniel started getting messages from fake accounts, screenshots of me with other men, photos Maya had manipulated from old pictures, placing my face on other people's bodies. He believed me when I said they were fake, but the harassment didn't stop. Every day, more messages, more photos, more accusations. Maya posted on her Instagram about toxic people who try to tear down your success out of jealousy. She didn't name me, but everyone who knew us understood. Mom stopped calling me entirely. I held on. I planned my wedding. I kept my job after the investigation cleared me. Daniel and I decided to elope instead, to escape the drama. We chose a date, June 15th. We'd fly to Italy, just the two of us, and get married on a vineyard in Tuscany. On June 14th, I was walking home from work when a car ran a red light. I don't remember the impact. I remember lying on the pavement, staring up at the sky, thinking about how I'd never gotten to cut my hair. How even now, bleeding out on a Boston street, my last thought was about something as stupid as hair. How Maya had taken everything from me, even the simple freedom of choosing what I looked like. I died thinking about that, about how I'd never gotten to be just Lily. I'd always been Maya's sister, Maya's twin, Maya's brand extension. And then I woke up in my dorm room, 18 years old, with my phone alarm blaring and 10 years of memories that shouldn't exist yet sitting heavy in my mind. The first thing I did after waking up as my 18-year-old self was check the date. September 3rd, first week of my freshman year of college. I had 10 years to do over, or rather, I had 10 years to do differently. I lay in my narrow dorm bed, staring at the ceiling, taking inventory of what I knew. In this timeline, I hadn't met James yet. That wouldn't happen for 3 more years. Maya was 21 in the midst of building her Instagram, just hitting the 100,000 follower mark. Mom was still married to her second husband before that divorce that would come when I was 22. Dad was in California, still mostly absent, and I had the most perfect hair I'd had in a decade, untreated and undamaged, cascading down my back in natural waves. I picked up my phone and looked at my reflection in the black screen. Then I opened Instagram. Maya's account had 103,000 followers. Her recent posts were the usual: mirror selfies showing her outfit and hair, flat lay photos of products, occasional videos of her hair routine. The comments were full of praise. "Your hair is goals. What's your secret? You and your sister are so lucky to have that hair." I scrolled back through her feed, 2 years of content, and I appeared in maybe 20% of it. Always the supporting player, the evidence, the proof that this was genetic, effortless, natural. In my old life, I'd been in 50% of her content by the time I graduated college. She'd learned that posts featuring both of us performed better, so she'd demanded more of my time, more of my presence. Not this time. I took a screenshot of her account as it was now, then blocked her. I blocked Mom too. Then I turned off my phone and went back to sleep. When I woke up again, it was noon. I had 3 missed calls from Maya and 7 texts from Mom. I deleted them all without reading and got dressed. The nearest hair salon was a 10-minute walk from campus. I arrived without an appointment and they said they could take me in an hour. I waited watching TikTok videos of pixie cuts and short styles, saving the ones I liked. When they called my name, I sat in the chair and showed the stylist my saved videos. "You're sure?" she asked, running her fingers through my long waves. "This is healthy, beautiful hair." "I'm completely sure." She started cutting. I watched in the mirror as my identity, or what Maya had made my identity, fell away in chunks. The other stylists stopped to watch. One took a photo, asked if she could post it as a dramatic transformation. "Go ahead," I said. When she was done, my hair was barely 2 inches long all over, slightly longer on top. It curled in small, tight spirals I'd never seen before because the weight of long hair had always pulled them straight. I looked like a different person. I looked like myself. I paid, tipped heavily, and walked back to my dorm. I took a selfie and posted it to my Instagram, the account that currently had 400 followers, mostly high school classmates. The caption was simple: "New school, new me." Then I unblocked Maya and Mom just long enough to make sure they could see the post and waited. Maya called within 3 minutes. I answered with video on, angling the phone so she could see my new hair in its full glory. The sound she made wasn't quite a scream. It was more like a wounded animal, something primal and agonized. "What did you do?" Her voice shook. "Lily, what the fuck did you do?" "I cut my hair," I said calmly. "Do you like it?" "Like it? Like it?" She was crying now, mascara streaming down her face. "You ruined everything. How could you be so selfish? My entire brand, our entire brand—" "I don't have a brand, Maya. I'm 18. I'm in college. I cut my hair because I wanted to." "Mom is going to kill you." "Then I guess I'll die." I smiled. "Anyway, I have class. Talk later." I hung up. Mom called 6 seconds later. I let it go to voicemail. She called again and again. On the 4th call, I answered. "How could you do this to your sister?" No hello, no preamble. Just accusation. "I got a haircut, Mom." "You know exactly what you did." Maya is devastated. She built everything around you two having the same hair, and you just destroyed it without even asking her. Why would I need to ask Maya's permission to cut my own hair? Don't play stupid, Lily. You're part of her brand whether you like it or not. You're in her content. Her followers know you. You can't just change everything without considering. Actually, I can. It's my hair, growing out of my head, not Maya's. This is so typical of you. Mom's voice was rising. You've always been jealous of your sister's success. You couldn't stand that she was building something, so you had to sabotage it. Goodbye, Mom. I hung up and blocked her number again. My phone buzzed with texts from family members I barely knew. Aunts, cousins, family friends, all saying variations of the same thing. How could I do this to Maya? Didn't I know how hard she'd worked? Couldn't I have at least talked to her first? I blocked them all. What they didn't understand, what they couldn't understand, was that I'd spent 10 years of my life as Maya's accessory. 10 years of being told my body, my appearance, my choices weren't my own. 10 years building to a death where my last thought was about hair. This time would be different. This time, I was going to take everything from her the way she'd taken everything from me, and I was going to enjoy it. The unblocking came 3 days later, not from Maya directly, but from her comment section. My haircut photo had gotten 2,000 likes, 5 times more engagement than any post I'd ever made. People were calling it brave, stunning, a power move. Several commented asking what made me decide to do it, if I was worried about my sister's reaction. I didn't respond to those. But I did notice Maya's latest post had an unusual number of comments asking about me. Is Lily okay? Did she say why she cut her hair? Are you two fighting? You haven't posted together in a while. Maya had disabled comments on that post within an hour. I went to class, studied, made new friends who didn't know I had a sister, let alone an influencer sister. I joined the creative writing club. I started submitting pieces to the college literary magazine. I lived my life without thinking about Maya at all. Then 2 weeks after my haircut, she showed up at my dorm. I was in the common room studying when someone knocked on my door. My roommate answered it, then called out, "Lily, there's someone here to see you." Maya stood in the hallway, and I almost didn't recognize her. She'd cut her hair, not as short as mine. She'd gone for a shoulder-length bob with long layers. It looked good, actually. Professional, mature, absolutely nothing like her signature waves. "Can we talk?" she asked quietly. I gathered my things and led her outside to a bench near the student center. We sat in silence for a long moment. "Why?" Maya finally asked. Her voice was small, lost. "Why did you cut your hair?" "Because I wanted to." "But you knew what it would do to me, to my account, to everything I've built." "What it would do to you?" I turned to look at her. "Maya, I got a haircut. I didn't burn down your house." "It's not just a haircut." Her eyes were red, like she'd been crying recently. "My engagement has dropped 30% since you posted that photo. Brands are asking questions about why we don't match anymore. I had to tell my manager that we were exploring individual identities and that I was cutting my hair too to show solidarity, but now my followers are confused because my whole thing was the long waves and..." She stopped, took a shaky breath. "I lost a contract because of this. A hair care line dropped me because they said my brand was inconsistent. I should have felt bad. The old Lily would have felt terrible, would have apologized, would have maybe even considered growing her hair back. But I'd died once. I'd given 10 years to being Maya's supporting character, and I was done." "That sounds really hard," I said. "But it's still not my problem." Maya's face crumpled. "How can you be so cruel? I'm your sister." "You're my sister who stole my boyfriend, built a career off my genetics, and demanded I maintain my appearance for your profit. So, yeah, I can be this cruel pretty easily." "I didn't steal James. We fell in love." "James doesn't exist yet," I said, then caught myself. "I mean, I haven't met him yet. And when I do, you're staying the hell away from him." She looked confused. "What are you talking about?" "Nothing." I stood up. "Look, Maya, you can cut your hair, grow it out, shave it off. I don't care. But I'm not going to be a part of your content anymore." I'm not going to coordinate my appearance with yours. I'm not going to be your matching doll. But we're sisters, and that's all we are. Sisters, not business partners, not a brand, just sisters. And sisters are allowed to look different. I walked away before she could respond. Maya's bob phase lasted exactly 3 weeks. Then she started growing her hair out again, posting about how she was returning to her roots and embracing her natural beauty journey again. Her followers welcomed her back, her engagement stabilized. But something had shifted. The comment sections of her posts started to fill with questions about me. Why had I cut my hair? Where was I? Why weren't we in content together anymore? Maya did a Q&A video addressing it. My sister is in college and focusing on her studies, she said with a practiced smile. We're both doing our own thing right now, which is healthy, but we're still close. That last part was a lie. We hadn't spoken since the bench conversation. Mom tried to intervene. She showed up at my dorm unannounced in October, demanding to know why I was tearing the family apart. I got a haircut, Mom. That's literally all I did. You know it's more than that. Maya's struggled since you did this. Her whole brand is in jeopardy. She might lose her apartment. She might have to move home. Then she can move home. She's 21. She can figure it out. When did you become so selfish? Mom's eyes were hard. I raised you better than this. No, you didn't. You raised me to be Maya's prop. But I'm not doing that anymore. Mom left. She didn't come back. I focused on school. My writing improved. I got a piece published in the literary magazine. A short story about a girl who discovers she can only be seen when she stands next to her sister. The editor said it was haunting and raw. I didn't tell her it was autobiographical. In November, I met James. He was exactly where he'd been in my first life. In the campus coffee shop, grad student in journalism, kind eyes, easy laugh. He asked if he could share my table. I said no. Oh. He looked surprised. Sorry, I just thought the cafe is pretty crowded. There's a table opening up over there. I pointed to a couple gathering their things. You should grab it. He thanked me and left. I watched him set up at the other table, pull out his laptop, order a coffee. In my first life, this moment had led to 3 months of dating, followed by years of watching him be with Maya, followed by seeing their wedding photos on Instagram while I ate ice cream alone in my apartment. In this life, he was just a stranger in a coffee shop. I finished my coffee and left. December came. Finals. Winter break. I told Mom I was staying at school to work on applications for a writing program. Really, I just didn't want to go home. Maya posted a photo on Christmas of her and Mom, matching sweaters, Maya's hair now past her shoulders again in carefully maintained waves. The caption, missing one, but grateful for this one. The comments asked where I was. Maya responded that I was busy with school. I spent Christmas in my dorm ordering Chinese food and binging movies. It was the best Christmas I'd ever had. Second semester started with a surprise. The salon where I'd gotten my haircut had posted their photo of me in the chair, before and after, and it had gone viral on TikTok. 100,000 views, 10,000 likes, comments full of people calling it the best hair transformation they'd seen, asking about the salon's location, asking about me. Someone had found my Instagram and tagged me. I woke up to 5,000 new followers and hundreds of comments on my photo. You're so brave for cutting it. You look amazing. Wait, are you Maya's sister? The one she always posts about? That last one appeared dozens of times. I posted a response video, my first TikTok ever. Just me, talking to the camera in my dorm room. Yeah, I'm Maya's sister. Yes, I cut my hair. Yes, she was surprised. No, we didn't coordinate it. Because it's my hair, and I can do what I want with it. The video got 500,000 views in 24 hours. Suddenly, I had 20,000 Instagram followers, 15,000 TikTok followers. My comments were full of people saying I was iconic, that I was living my truth, that they wished they had my confidence. I hadn't been trying to go viral, I'd just been living my life. But the universe apparently had other plans. Maya called me for the first time in months. "You're doing this on purpose," she said without preamble. "Doing what?" "Building a platform, stealing my followers, making this about you." I posted one video, Maya. One video that's been shared everywhere. One video that's making me look like the bad guy. The comments on my posts are all about you now. People are accusing me of being controlling, of being angry about your hair, of treating you badly. Are they wrong? Silence. Maya, I'm not trying to build a platform. I'm just existing. If people are interested in that, it's not my fault. Everything was fine before you cut your hair. No, it wasn't. You just didn't notice because it was fine for you. She hung up. I stared at my phone, feeling something unfamiliar blooming in my chest. Not guilt, not regret, power. For the first time in my life, I had power over my own narrative. People were listening to me, not just to Maya's version of me. I was the protagonist of my own story. And I was just getting started. By February, I had 50,000 followers across both platforms. I wasn't trying to be an influencer, I was just posting about my life, my writing, my classes, my short hair that I was still experimenting with, trying different products and styles. People were fascinated by the contrast between me and Maya, by the fact that I'd chosen to be different. Brands started reaching out. Small ones at first, indie hair care companies, sustainable fashion brands. They wanted to send me products. They wanted to sponsor posts. I said no to all of them. I didn't want to be an influencer like Maya. I didn't want my life to be about promoting products and maintaining an image. But then a literary magazine reached out, one I'd been submitting to for years in my old life, always getting rejected. They'd seen my TikTok about being a creative writing major. They wanted to feature me in their emerging writer's spotlight. I said yes to that. The interview came out in March. I talked about writing, about finding your voice, about the difference between living for yourself versus living for other people's expectations. I mentioned briefly that I'd grown up in my sister's shadow and that cutting my hair had been my way of reclaiming my identity. The article was shared thousands of times. More followers, more attention, and more opportunities. A literary agent reached out. She'd read the article and wanted to know if I was working on anything longer. A novel, maybe. I was. I'd been working on it since January. A story about two sisters, one famous and one invisible, and what happens when the invisible one decides to be seen. I sent her the first 3 chapters. She called me 2 days later and said she wanted to represent me. I was 19 years old with a literary agent and a growing platform that I hadn't even tried to build. Maya's follower count had plateaued at 600,000. Mine was climbing past 100,000. In April, Mom called. "You need to collaborate with your sister," she said. No. "Lily, this is getting out of hand. You have brands asking about you now. You have opportunities. Maya could help you navigate this. I don't want Maya's help, and I'm not collaborating with her." "Why are you being so difficult?" "I'm not being difficult. I'm being me. That's what people actually want to see, not me pretending to be Maya's matching accessory. You're going to regret this when you've burned every bridge." "The only bridge I've burned is the one you and Maya built out of my hair, and I'm fine with that." I hung up and got back to writing my novel. The summer after my freshman year, I stayed in Boston. I got an internship at a small publishing house and kept working on my book. My agent sold it in August, a 2-book deal with a major publisher. The advance was enough to cover my tuition for the next 3 years and then some. I posted about it on Instagram. "Debut novel coming 2025, dreams do come true." The comments were overwhelmingly supportive. My followers were proud of me. They'd been following my writing journey through my posts, and this felt like a win for all of us. Maya's comment appeared an hour after I posted. "So proud of you, sis." I deleted it. She texted me immediately. "Why did you delete my comment?" "Because you're not proud of me. You're performing being proud for your followers." "That's not fair. I am proud." "When's the last time we had a real conversation, Maya?" No response. "Exactly. You don't get to show up now that I have something going on and play the supportive sister. You weren't there when I needed support. Don't pretend now, she didn't reply. But she did post a story later that day about family challenges and growing apart and sending love to those who need it. The classic influencer vague post designed to get sympathy while playing victim. I didn't engage. I just kept living my life. In September, I started my sophomore year. My book was in edits. My social media following had hit 200,000. I was still posting about my life, my writing, my very short hair that I'd recently bleached platinum blonde because why not? The contrast between me and Maya couldn't be more stark now. She was still pushing her long waves, her natural beauty content, her authentic lifestyle. I was experimenting with colors and styles, being openly messy and uncertain and real. Her followers started migrating to my accounts. Slowly at first, then faster. They'd leave comments on her posts. Your sister seems more genuine, and Lily's content is more relatable, and why don't you two ever post together anymore? Maya tried to address it in a video. My sister and I have different approaches to social media, she said, smile tight. She's doing her thing, I'm doing mine. There's no drama, we're just different people. But her eyes told a different story. She was losing her grip on the narrative she'd built. The sister with the beautiful natural hair was no longer the center of attention. The sister she'd used as proof of her authenticity was now outshining her, and there was nothing she could do about it. The real turning point came in November of my sophomore year. Maya launched her hair care line, the one she'd been planning for years. She'd partnered with a manufacturer, developed products, created packaging. Everything was set. The line was called Sisters Hair Co. The branding featured photos of her with her long waves, and, in the background of some promotional materials, old photos of me with long hair too. Photos from when I was in high school before I'd cut it. Photos she didn't have permission to use. The tagline was Celebrating Natural Beauty, Sister to Sister. She announced it with a massive Instagram campaign. Professional photos, video ads, testimonials from influencers she'd sent PR packages to. The whole thing was slick and expensive. And I tore it apart with a single TikTok. I filmed it in my dorm room, casual, no fancy lighting or editing. Hey everyone. So my sister just launched a hair care line called Sisters Hair Co. and is using photos of me in the branding without my permission. Just wanted to clarify, I have no involvement in this company, I don't use these products, and I didn't consent to my image being used. Also, calling it Sisters anything is pretty funny considering we haven't had a real conversation in over a year. Anyway, do with that information what you will. I posted it and went to class. By the time I checked my phone 2 hours later, the video had 3 million views. The comments were savage. Using your sister's image without permission is not it. This is so manipulative, OMG. The fact that she's using old photos of you when you had long hair, girl. Maya really thought she could cash in on your genetics without your consent? Maya's Instagram was being flooded with comments demanding answers. Why had she used my photos? Why had she named it? Sisters Hair Co. If we weren't collaborating, was I okay with this? She tried to respond with a statement. The name Sisters Hair Co. is about celebrating the bond between all sisters, not just my personal sister. The imagery is meant to evoke that universal feeling of sisterhood. No one bought it. Major beauty bloggers started covering the drama. Articles appeared on beauty news sites. Influencer launches hairline using sister's image without consent, and sisters hair comedy controversy, everything you need to know. Within a week, 2 of her retail partners pulled out. The products were still launching online, but the damage was done. People were leaving 1-star reviews before they'd even received their orders. Supporting sisters by exploiting your sister? No thanks. Maya called me, crying. You ruined this for me. You destroyed my business before it even started. I pointed out the truth. You used my image without asking. You're my sister. I shouldn't have to ask. That's exactly the problem, Maya. You've never asked. You've never considered that I might have my own feelings, my own plans, my own life. You just took and expected me to go along with it because we're family. I hate you, she whispered. No, you don't. You hate that you can't control me anymore. I hung up. Sister's Hair Comedy officially folded 3 months later. The products never gained traction. Maya tried to rebrand herself, pivot to different content, but her follower count was in free fall. She'd lost her credibility. People had seen behind the curtain and didn't like what they found. Meanwhile, my book sold to 10 international markets. The cover was revealed, a striking design featuring a girl with very short hair standing in front of a mirror, her reflection showing someone with long hair looking back at her. People lost their minds over it. This is going to be so good. The cover is everything. I need this book now. My publisher moved up the release date to capitalize on the buzz. My book came out in May, halfway through my sophomore year. I was 20 years old. It debuted at number 7 on the New York Times bestseller list. The reviews called it a searing examination of identity and autonomy and a powerful story about breaking free from others' expectations. Readers connected with it deeply. They saw themselves in the protagonist and her struggle to be seen as separate from her sister. I did a book tour, small indie bookstores, some larger chains, a few podcasts and radio shows. At every event, people asked me if the book was autobiographical. It's inspired by my life, I'd say. But it's fiction. The lie was kind. The truth was that it was about 90% real, just rearranged and heightened for narrative impact. Maya posted a single story the day my book came out. Congrats to my sister on her book. No photo, no enthusiasm, just those 8 words. I didn't acknowledge it. My followers hit 500,000 found across platforms. I signed a deal for my second book. I got offers for speaking engagements, podcast interviews, panel discussions about creativity and identity. My life was full, busy, mine. And Maya was slowly fading from the public eye. Her posts got fewer likes. Her sponsors dropped off. She moved back in with Mom in Massachusetts, unable to afford her apartment anymore. I should have felt bad. The old Lily would have felt guilty, would have wondered if she'd gone too far. But I remembered my old life. I remembered dying on a Boston street, having given everything to make Maya comfortable and getting nothing in return. I remembered James and the wedding photos and the book, full of lies about our beautiful sisterhood. This wasn't revenge. This was justice. In June, after finals, I went home to Massachusetts for the first time in almost 2 years. The house looked the same. Mom's car in the driveway, flower boxes on the windows, the same welcome mat we'd had since I was a kid. I knocked instead of using my key. Didn't feel right to just walk in anymore. Mom answered. She looked older, more tired. Lily. Hi, Mom. We stood there awkwardly for a moment before she stepped aside to let me in. Maya was in the living room, sitting on the couch with her laptop. Her hair was pulled back in a messy bun, no makeup, sweatpants. She looked up when I entered and something flickered across her face. Surprise, resentment, something else I couldn't name. Hey, sis, I said. Hey, I sat in the armchair across from her. Mom hovered in the doorway. I read your book, Maya said finally. Yeah. It's good, really good. She looked at her laptop screen instead of at me. I hated it, but it's good. Thanks. Everyone knows it's about me, about us. The protagonist has a sister. That's where the similarities end. Bullshit. She finally looked at me. You wrote about every shitty thing I ever did. You just changed the names. I wrote about a toxic dynamic. If you saw yourself in it, maybe that says something. Mom made a noise from the doorway. This is exactly what I was afraid of. You two can't even be in a room together without fighting. We're not fighting, I said. We're talking. Probably the most honest conversation we've had in years. Maya laughed, but there was no humor in it. You want honesty? Fine, I'm jealous of you. I've been jealous since you were born. I blinked, surprised. What? You had Dad. Not me, you. After the divorce, he kept in touch with you. He'd call you, send you gifts. He remembered your birthday. But he forgot mine more often than not. She was crying now, mascara-less tears tracking down her cheeks. And you didn't even have to try. You'd wake up and your hair looked perfect. You'd throw on any outfit and look good. Meanwhile, I was up at 5 a.m. with a flat iron and an hour of styling just to look half as good as you did rolling out of bed. That's not my fault. I know, Ahash, she was almost yelling. I know it's not your fault, but I still hated you for it. And when I finally found something I was good at, something that was mine, building my account, my brand, you were still there. In my content. Being the proof that I was real. And I resented needing you, but I needed you anyway. So you took everything you could from me, I said quietly. My identity, my boyfriend, my choices about my own body. James was his own person. Who you went after because he was mine first. Because you couldn't stand that I had something separate from you. Maya wiped her face. You're right. You're completely right. I was shitty. I was manipulative. I built my entire life around competing with you and then demanding you help me win. Mom was crying now too, leaning against the doorframe. You two used to be so close. No, we didn't, I said. We used to look coordinated. That's not the same thing. We sat in silence for a long moment. Then Maya spoke again, her voice small. I'm sorry for all of it. For James, for the hair thing. For using your photos without asking. For making you feel like you couldn't exist outside of being my sister. I studied her face, looking for the lie, the manipulation. But she just looked tired, defeated. I forgive you, I said. And I was surprised to find I meant it. Not because what she'd done was okay, but because holding on to the anger was exhausting. But that doesn't mean things can go back to how they were. I'm not going to be part of your content. I'm not going to coordinate with you. We can be sisters, but we're going to be separate people. I know, she closed her laptop. I'm done with all that anyway. I deleted Instagram last month. What? It was making me miserable. Constantly comparing myself to you, to other influencers, to who I used to be. I got a job at a marketing agency. Regular hours, steady pay, no performance metrics based on how pretty my life looks. She laughed weakly. It's boring, but it's better. I didn't know what to say to that. In my old life, Maya had stayed committed to influencing until I died, always chasing the high of viral posts and brand deals. This version of her, admitting defeat and choosing normalcy, was foreign, but maybe that was okay. Maybe we both got to be different people this time around. I'm glad you found something that works for you, I said. Yeah, me too, she paused. I saw Dad last week. My stomach dropped. What? He reached out, said he saw your book, saw the press about you, wanted to reconnect. Her voice was bitter. Still all about you, even when he's trying to be there for me. Maya, it's fine. I told him to fuck off. She smiled slightly. Felt good, actually, realizing I don't need his validation, or Mom's, or Instagram's, or yours. I never wanted you to need my validation. I know that was the problem. You just existed and that was enough. Meanwhile, I was breaking myself trying to be someone worth noticing. Mom finally came into the room properly, sitting on the couch next to Maya. I failed you both, she said quietly. I pushed the matching thing. I made it seem like your worth was in how you looked together. I prioritized Maya's brand over Lily's comfort. I was so proud of Maya's success that I didn't see how much damage it was causing. She looked at me. And I dismissed your feelings every time you tried to set boundaries. I'm sorry. 2 apologies in one day. In my old life, I'd never gotten either one. Thank you, I said to both of them. We talked for another hour about the past, about the future, about how to move forward. It wasn't a fix-all conversation. Years of damage don't heal in an afternoon. But it was a start. When I left, Maya walked me to my car. Your hair looks good, by the way, she said. The platinum suits you. Thanks. Your bob was good too. You should cut it again. She touched her bun self-consciously. Maybe I will, not because you did, but because I want to. That's the right reason. She hugged me then, quick and awkward, and then I was driving away, watching her get smaller in my rearview mirror. I'm 23 now, 3 years past that conversation in my mother's living room. My second book came out last year and hit #1. I'm working on my third. I still have a social media presence, but I'm selective about what I share. My hair changes with my mood. Currently, it's a shoulder-length shag and my natural dark brown, growing out the platinum. Maya works at her marketing agency and, according to Mom, is dating someone nice. Someone who isn't a grad student, isn't involved in writing, isn't connected to me in any way. She still doesn't have Instagram. We text occasionally, birthday wishes, holiday check-ins, the occasional meme. We're not close. We probably won't ever be close in the way people expect sisters to be. But we're both free. That's something. I think about my old life sometimes. About dying on that street. About James and the wedding I watched from afar. About all the years I spent being invisible. In that life, I was a supporting character. I existed to make Maya's story work, to be the proof of her authenticity, the evidence of her natural beauty. In this life, I'm the protagonist. My story matters. My choices matter. My hair, short, long, blue, blonde, whatever I want it to be, is mine. Maya copied my wavy hair for years because she needed me to validate her identity. After Rebirth, I cut it short and she looked lost because she'd built her entire life around the idea that we were the same. But we were never the same. We just looked coordinated. And now we don't even look like that. Sometimes people still recognize me as Maya's sister. Aren't you the girl who cut her hair, they'll ask? The one with the influencer sister? I used to be bothered by that, by still being defined in relation to her, but now I just smile and say, I'm a writer, Maya is my sister, but that's not really what I'm known for anymore. And it's true. My books have sold over 1 million copies combined. I've been on bestseller lists, won awards, been interviewed by major publications. People know me for my work now, not for my genetics or my family drama. The hair thing was never really about hair. It was about autonomy, about the right to make choices about your own body, your own life, your own identity, without someone else's needs being prioritized over yours. I cut my hair and Maya looked lost because she'd spent so long using me as her mirror that she didn't know who she was when I stopped reflecting her back. But that was her journey to figure out, not mine. I figured out mine. And my hair, it's perfect. Not because of how it looks, but because I chose it. Every single time. Last week, I got an email from a reader, a girl named Sophie, 16 years old. She said she'd read both my books and they'd helped her realize she didn't have to be who her family wanted her to be. She said she'd been planning to go to medical school because it's what her parents expected, but what she really wanted was to study art. My books had given her the courage to tell them. She attached a photo. In it, she was standing in front of a canvas, paintbrush in hand, grinning at the camera. Her hair was dyed bright pink, something her parents had forbidden before she read about my platinum phase and decided if I could do it, so could she. I cried when I read her email. Happy tears. Because that's what it was all for. Not the bestseller list or the money or the vindication against Maya. Those were nice. But the real reward was knowing that my story, my choice to stop being a supporting character and become the protagonist, helped someone else do the same. I wrote back to Sophie, "Your hair looks amazing. Your art will be too. Keep painting." Then I closed my laptop and looked at myself in the mirror across from my desk. My hair was messy from running my hands through it while writing. My face was bare of makeup. My clothes were comfortable, not photogenic. I looked exactly like myself. Finally. And that was more than enough.